Right. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another edition of IT Conversations. We're still here at Omnissa ONE, and with me is a pretty familiar face, but in a different role. Spencer, would you be so kind to quickly reintroduce yourself to the viewers?
Yeah, I'm Spencer Pitts. I'm now the partner CTO. Was the field CTO for a little bit. Now I'm looking after all things partner at the moment.
So we've seen you quite often, obviously, at ITQ. We'll probably see you a lot more often. So Omnissa ONE. It was the main event today, main event with the keynote. Any highlights that you'd like to specifically mention that the viewers at home should know about?
Well, there's been a lot of highlights, to be fair, but I think one of the main ones was vulnerability defense. I think we sort of talked about it about a year ago, but now it's officially launched or coming very, very, very soon in limited availability. And the good thing about that is, because I've had this thing about how security works with end-user computing. And
typically they
don't, right, basically, yeah.
Absolutely.
And then what we tend to find out there is that security teams don't trust EUC to go and patch. So they go and buy another tool.
Yep.
And that tool then can effectively come into EUC and do some massive patch. And it's kind of like, well, okay, how does the EUC teams know if that's got any effects, and they don't know what the user experience impacts are, etc. So in the way that we've done it now, we take the feed, in this case from CrowdStrike, directly into, in this case, UEM, Workspace ONE UEM. We can have a look at all the vulnerable machines, and Workspace ONE can go and patch them. Once it's done, tells it back to CrowdStrike. That tells the security teams. Security teams are happy. We're happy because we use our own tool, Workspace ONE, if you didn't get that. And everyone's good, right? So I think it's that whole sort of communication between different silos that all need to get their own individual jobs done, but then it can talk to each other. So I think that's really exciting.
It is, and I think that some of the key elements from the keynote, but also what you just mentioned, is that it's about breaking the silos, right, with the unified platform approach. And it's about security in this case, but it's also about HR teams, Windows management, Apple management, bringing everyone together. And I think that if you look at the vulnerability defense part especially, in the past EUC and security it was typically the same
Tolerated
team.
each other,
until it really separated out. And I think that this is a great way forward to bringing them together again and looking how they can work together.
Yeah, and I think that you talked about the user experience side and HR side just a second ago. I think you did anyway. If you didn't, I'm going to say it anyway.
No, we did, yeah.
So we talked about that human-centric, and I think we kind of lost that in IT. Around about the pandemic, everybody was very interested in, are my users happy? Because they're not in the office, so we don't know if they're happy, because typically we knew they were happy because they'd come along to the support desk and tell people they're unhappy. But when they all went home, or we worked at home, we didn't know, so you saw the rise of DEX tooling.
Yep.
And then I kind of feel recently we've sort of returned to the office, etc. We sort of lost sight of that, and I kind of like the way that we've re-said, hey, guys, we don't manage devices for the hell of it. We don't secure them. We don't push apps. We do it because users need it. And ultimately, it's about the people that need to get their jobs done. So I like the fact we've gone back to the, I say gone back, we never forgot about it, but I like the way we re-emphasize it's all about the people ultimately doing their jobs. So,
that's absolutely
human-centric.
True. Yeah, and it's good to see that, and it was an essential part in the keynote as well. Starting with the onboarding, day zero, to actually using apps and a device, but also ensuring that they have a consistent experience regardless of the device or the endpoint that they're using, but also keeping it secure. Because that's especially nowadays, it is more relevant than ever.
Yep.
And with the DEX part, especially we're looking at mobile, Horizon, but also the good old Windows and Mac devices. I think that there's some really, really interesting things that you announced, and especially tying that in AI. We cannot have a conversation without mentioning AI, right?
Yeah, well, so look, I've been talking about what we're doing for a while now, and I know we've always had a roadmap, and I think in the early days of AI, there was a lot of hype. Everybody jumped on the Gen AI thing. I think in the early days as well, some people thought our autonomous workspace vision was developed after the AI hype, but it wasn't. It was before. What's interesting now is the way that all these AI techniques have come along, because there's multitudes of one. I think they said in the keynote, Brian said about actionable insights. We take a lot of information from a lot of different endpoints, touch points, user entry points, etc. And using intelligence and using machine learning techniques, we can get a lot of information. That's AI still. It just happens to be machine learning, which is kind of not as you call them trendy as Gen AI and now agentic AI. But what I really liked is how we really spelt out the path to the autonomous workspace vision, using AI as an enabler to get there, and give some solid examples. And I think that's really cool. And yeah, the agentic stuff and some of the cool videos around, you go to the system, it suggests stuff, but ultimately you're still in control of do I want that to happen? I might want to change it. And that's always come down to the, like everybody loves AI, but there's always this element of, do I really trust it's correct? And having still somebody in the loop that can, say yes or no, is still important, which is why I like that speed of trust element, because that's what that's referring to as well.
And it makes sense, right? If you tell ChatGPT or any AI often enough that 1 and 1 equals 4, eventually it'll say 1 and 1 is 4. So human control is always good. And I think that is one of the nicer aspects of it, actually. You're allowing IT admins or IT help desk staff to start with the level that they're comfortable with. If ultimately, once the autonomous workspace vision becomes a reality and they want to fully go autonomous, they can. But if they want to stay in control, take the suggestions, change it up a bit to their liking, they can.
Yep, that's completely in their control, whether they want it to do it and they trust that. Comes down to that digital skills shortage piece, right? You might be a smaller company that doesn't have the resources to go and get some really competent EUC people, and maybe this is a great way of being able to step in between as well. Or you've got somebody who's really, really good, but you've got a lot of teams there that aren't quite at that level, and you can still have that ultimate control. So I really, really like that. It's coming to life. Good to see that AI aspect, and a really good, clear message around we don't just put AI into the system for the hell of it. We have a clear purpose about what it's trying to achieve, and it makes sense, and we're transparent about how we do it.
Yeah, and I think that is the great part about it. It is built in the foundation of it, but not just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
It's not to...
Well, it is fun as well.
Obviously,
but we don't
fun,
just do it for the hell of it, right?
No, and it's doing cool things. It's really doing cool things. And the demos that were shown today are really impressive. And it just shows how close you actually are to achieving that autonomous workspace vision.
We're very, very close. If not, some of the elements are already there today, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the other key thing that came up as well, though, just on the big announcements, something I've been personally involved with as well, is around the whole Omnissa sovereign solution.
Absolutely.
So the ability, I live in the UK, and I know that UK probably isn't quite so effective, but I think they might have to be. You never know what happens. But Ralph Gergau, Vice President of EMEA, European, Middle East and Africa sales lead, he was talked about quite clearly. We see a lot of countries that say, look, I want UEM. I want Workspace ONE UEM, but I can't go to a US-based SaaS cloud. And I'm already on-prem today.
Yep.
I want to do modern, but I can't do modern because I can't go to the cloud. So this gives a really good opportunity in between, and I think it's differentiating because sometimes you look at the tech, and that's one way of making it sovereign. People sort of focus on it's inside the borders, but there's an whole element around how you operate it. That's why we're partnering with GEMA, because they're a European entity. Yep. They're divorced from the US side of things, because that's the other thing, is where do you get your support from? Sure. If it's still US, technically you're still subject to some of the regulatory aspects. So how we've done that, not just from the tech side with the code and how we've implemented ModStack on UEM, but also how we brought that to life with a third-party partner, I think is really, really good. And I think if customers are looking at this right now and they think, we need a complete sovereign solution, I think we're light years ahead in terms of where others are.
It is, and I think that you've seen the reaction from the crowd regarding that announcement as well, and it is a hot topic for customers.
Oh, yeah.
Not just for anyone in the EU especially, but also just about the fact that they can still run an on-prem version of UEM. There are some customers that want that, need that, and the fact that you've given them the opportunity to do so in any given form or shape, I think that's a great step forward.
Yep.
And the beauty of it actually is the fact that it is the same product that customers are running in the cloud. It's hosted differently.
It's the same code that Omnissa runs in our SaaS instance. We just effectively get the blueprints on how to replicate that, but in a way that meets all the sovereign requirements as well. Yeah. Not just location, but data, but who also operates the service. And of course, if somebody comes along, I always do, I don't know why, but I'm going to use a big pair of scissors example, even though it's my two fingers. Yep. Somebody comes along and cuts the cord, you can still operate that service within the board, and that's really important as well. It's not just about the data, it's about the, I need to make sure this stuff runs, it's mission critical. There's an element there to that as well.
And talking about cutting the wire, another announcement in that area is Omnissa Monitor.
Yep.
It is Wow,
So-
a lightweight version of some of the capabilities in intelligence, but primarily focusing on the DEX bar and the monitoring of your infrastructure components.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a bit of history here. So those that have been Horizon customers for a long time will know that we've had various ways of getting good monitoring. Clearly, we're not part of Broadcom like we were before, and some of the requirements and some of the techniques we were using to understand workloads on-prem were linked to some of the traditional tool sets. And then we came along with DEX and DEAM, so Digital Employee Experience Management for Horizon. That's clearly cloud connected.
Absolutely.
Some customers are not keen for all the reasons we just mentioned. So yeah, Omnissa Monitor is our sort of approach. It's not going to go as full. And you've got to think about what intelligence is kind of like a 50,000 foot look that you can then go deep. But then there's that, somebody phones up the help desk, there's a problem, I need to go and interrogate that machine, what's going wrong with it. I think the monitoring solution is giving you that real time, I need to go and find out what's going on right now, and it's disconnected from the cloud. So that fits that bit, but some people might be still interested in aggregated data and obfuscated data that still goes in, but it's that sort of first line, second line, admins going and finding out. So yeah, it's been a key requirement. Up until now, we've been sort of working with third parties, and I think it fixed that gap as well. And it's a big requirement customers have been asking us for. So yeah, looking forward to that coming out as well.
And it fits perfectly in the whole ecosystem part that you're talking about during the conference as well.
Indeed.
Spencer, do you have anything to add?
Do I have anything to add?
That we haven't touched on that you really want to address?
Well, I fear for the length of this video if I add any more, but I just wanted to say thank you to ITQ, thanks to all the customers for coming. It's been really impressive. If you can see the background there's been some great conversations. Good to see everybody come together and a good feel vibe as well. And it's really close to the airport, so it makes my life getting home easier.
Yeah, for a change, it makes your life easier. It makes my life a little bit more problematic, but we managed.
Here we go.
So, last question.
Yep.
Anything you'd like to give away to the people here, to the people at home about this event? If they need to remember one thing about today, what would it be?
I think the main thing is that re-understanding why EUC is there, why IT is there. It's for the business, but it's for the people of the business. And ultimately, without the people, they couldn't get their work done. And the thing that enables that is all the tools and the IT side. And just remember, it is about that ultimately, not about IT. IT is there as a service to the end users that drive the business. It's human-centric, and getting back to that, I think, is probably the key message, I would say, apart from all the awesome tech that we've mentioned.
Yeah, but that's just a means to an end, right?
Exactly. Remember what it's all about.
Yep. Beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for watching. Remember, we're still here for a couple more hours. Expect some more content on the last minute. And for now, thank you for watching, and see you next time. And this is the part where I hope everything went okay.